Hey there, and welcome to Our Stitching Chronicles, the craft podcast where every stitch tells a story.
We're your hosts. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Kendall. We are here to chat, stitch, and explore the stories of our stitching.
So grab your yarn, find a comfy spot, and knit along with us as we share projects, stories, and hopefully a few laughs along the way.
Let's cast on chapter 15 of Our Stitching Chronicles.
Woot, woot. So it has been a red hot minute since we filmed.
And by a red hot minute, it's been 2 months.
It's a red hot minute.
Yeah, but just...
We did not film the April.
No.
Busy month was April, so kind of forgotten what we do.
And March was kind of out a little bit later because we took a while to edit it.
Oh my gosh. Well, Mad March.
Yeah, true.
Adelaide has Mad March, and I feel that expanded into April.
Yeah. Well, and then you travelled, so.
I did. I went overseas. Yep. I have things to share about that.
One of us has been to Japan.
One of us has. I won't talk too much about Japan in this video because I have actually filmed 2 whole vlog videos about it. I'm in the process of editing the second one. I finished the first. I've just got some touches, so they will be coming out soon.
What are you wearing, Sarah?
I am wearing, and it is also my first finished object, finally. So this is the Robinson Wrap by Florence Miller. I knit this in the Chaska Puray yarn, which is like
8 ply.
8 ply, but it's more like when you hold a 4 ply with. Do you know what? Even holding a 4 ply with a mohair, which I'm doing at the moment, I feel is thicker than this. But it's only like a 21 stitch gauge on a 4mm needle, 22 stitch gauge, something around there. This took me 5 months to knit, but I am so happy with it. I actually do have a lot of footage of me wearing it because I wore it a lot when I was in Japan. It is comfortable, it is warm, it is not too itchy. I wear it to work, so I can wear it over like my business pants, and it is perfect.
You were wearing it over a dress?
I was wearing it over a dress earlier. I was trying a new look.
It worked.
Didn't feel 100% comfortable in it, but might work. Yeah, I am so happy with it. So the little tie here. I think the only thing that worries me is like where this comes through. It's like pulling.
Oh yeah.
A little bit. I don't know if you can see that. It pulls a little bit, but I don't think it's going to come undone. Like I said, 5 months to knit, but I feel like I had been in a little bit of a knitting funk, so.
And you had mentioned it was the one long knit row, one long purl row, one long knit row, one long purl.
The one long knit row wasn't such an issue. It was the purl row. I was saying to Kendall, like, I want cardigans. I really want to knit a couple of cardigans because I'm trying to knit like my staple wardrobe, and cardigans are something that I wear so much, and I'm like, I don't want a purl, but I think I just need to do like the rosé cardigan wasn't too painful. So yeah, doing some kind of texture might make it a bit better.
Yeah.
But
or she could learn to steek.
I could. This year was going to be my year of learning new things. I want to knit the PetiteKnit weekend cardigan, which is brioche, and I'm scared of it, and that's why I haven't cast it on, but we'll see. But the final product is so worth it because, like I said, I love cardigans. I love it. I think the sleeves might be a little bit short, but I don't really notice it because I tend to...
We call it bracelet length.
Yeah. But no, so happy with it. No complaints. 10 out of 10 recommend.
Ooh, good job.
Yeah.
Well done.
And I met Gage. I mean, for me to meet Gage on a pattern never happens. So I met it on the first go. So I was pretty happy.
There you go. You found your Gage twin.
I did.
Yay!
My other gauge twin is my whip that I've got to talk about later.
Ooh, preview. That's coming. I am also in a finished object. This is my Frederic Sweater by Kolibri by Johanna. I'm not sure when I started it. I know that when I did, I had a couple of other things, a couple of other projects that were my priority. And so I didn't spend lots of time on it. And I was just looking at the start thinking this is going to take me forever. But then once I'd added the shoulders and joined the round, it just kind of flew through. The yarn is Woollen Works in the Suri lace. So it's alpaca. It is so soft. In the colourway Rufous, which is the same as my socks that I made. What I didn't realise when I got the Suri lace is the meterage is slightly shorter than their other lace weights. I was playing yarn chicken.
Yeah.
So it just meant that I made a couple of stylistic choices, or the yarn made the choice for me. But I still got to do the things that it told me to. So you're supposed to hold the yarn double for the cuffs and the collar and the hem. And I had enough to do that.
Yeah.
I just didn't make it as long as I should have, especially on the bottom, because I was like, I have nothing left. Like, it could have been a touch longer.
But it works.
But it works with jumpers.
So well, especially like you could probably wear that over a skirt too, actually.
That will be the plan come summer.
Like a dress,
skirt dress.
Yeah.
A couple of other changes I did make is I did the sleeves twice, basically.
Yeah.
One of the sleeves. So I got to about here and I looked at the yarn and I was not going to have enough left. But I also looked here and it was like so loosey-goosey and floaty that I was like, I'm going to get so annoyed at this. So it's very different from some of the pictures that she has. But I really like the ease that I have on this. And then I actually think I went and did it too tight.
Oh.
And so then did it again. But I hadn't made as much progress. Like I literally... I've made 3 sleeves for this, essentially. But because I reduced the stitch count, I found the right balance. It meant that the sleeves went by so much quicker because there were just less stitches.
Yeah.
So,
and I do think it fits really nicely.
I really like it. It needs blocking. It needs the ends woven in.
We went out for lunch and then we went to a yarn store, which we'll talk about later. And her ends, her little tails were sticking out. And so I did take a sneaky photo of the tails sticking out.
Tuck in your tail, little duck.
Yeah.
The wool is also accidentally pulling, and I've got some like stripes across.
Oh, see, I can see diagonal pink.
Yeah.
But it works.
Unintentional.
I like that. I think it looks incredible.
It's not
and
really...
I feel like it is borderline something that I would wear.
That's saying something because this is pretty much reflective of our personalities.
I do love colours. I just...
in your socks.
I struggle to wear them. But I wear my mustard gallant mohair regularly.
Yeah.
So I feel like yellows could be a colour.
I
don't know. I really like that colour.
I am a big fan of Suri lace.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Tell me more.
It's just so soft.
And it
Like,
looks so soft.
it's not itchy, and I don't need to wear a long sleeve underneath. I could, but I don't need to. And it's actually quite toasty. Big fan.
Maybe I need to knit myself one of
Because
these.
guess what? It's alpaca.
Did you have any allergy issues?
No allergy issues. If she starts sneezing, blame this girl.
Yeah. It's worth it though. I have a couple of alpaca projects.
Oh, yeah.
Got one on the go and one to
One
come.
on the go, and she influenced me.
2 to come.
We'll get to that.
I have one more finished object. So while I was in Japan, I took so many things to knit on because I'm ambitious like that. At the beginning of the first one, I'll show you everything that I took. I ended up knitting on 3 things really, but only 2 things mostly, and 1 thing particularly, and so that's my only finished object.
While you're getting that, I'm just going to say, part of like taking so many things with you is you just want choice. You don't want to feel like you're locked into one thing. And
as we all know, I do get bored very easily, and so I need that choice. I need that. But I have been so good this year, Kendall.
You have.
So
Very
good.
impressed.
We will talk about that a little bit more when we get to my whips. I'm like I'm changed lady.
we're learning from each other.
We are.
I'm being more chaotic and she is being more orderly. I can also be chaotic, so let's not pretend.
I am still a little chaotic, but I have been so good. Anyway, so while I was in Japan, I took one sock with me. So I had already finished one. I have not woven in my ends. Please don't judge me.
We listen and we don't judge.
Exactly, thank you.
Especially about woven ends.
Yeah, agreed. And it's still a finished object, even if it's not woven or blocked.
Can you wear it? Yes. Finished object.
Have I worn these with the ends just loose inside them? Yes, I have. These are the Seroto Socks by Ali from Fiberbound. She has a YouTube channel. She's an Adelaide girly too. And this is my second pair of Serotos that I have knit. I love the pattern.
Beautiful. Big fans.
Yeah. And
I think I've knit 3 pairs.
Yeah, you've knit 3. 2 adults and 1 kid.
Yeah.
So I had finished one sock ages and ages and ages ago, and then hadn't cast on the second sock. And so just before I went away, I cast on the second sock, and I think I'd only done like 3 rounds of the cuff just to get it on the needles before boarding the plane. And basically knit on this whole thing the whole time that I was in Japan. So they are my Japan socks. Now these socks, you know how we like to say they're sisters, not twins?
Yeah.
They're half sisters.
Yeah.
But I made a mistake in the first sock that I knit. I don't know if you can tell where I've made my mistake. On my first sock, I knit half the amount of heel.
Funny. I love them. I'm not laughing.
I don't know how I
Sarah.
did that. But can I be real with you for a second? That sock, the sock that I made the mistake, fits me so much better than this sock. And so when I put them together, they're actually,
with these socks combined,
you can see they're not even like, I did the exact same amount of rounds of everything, except for the heel. So, but I don't care.
look, we listen and we don't judge. Do you remember how I made 2 or 3 pairs of socks before I was like, oh, I've been knitting the heel all completely wrong.
Yes, double knitting the heel. But I love it. I'm so happy with them. Like I said, love the pattern. The yarn is Ali worked in collaboration with Yarnicopia. We are wool people. Anyway, worked in collaboration with them to come up with this colorway.
Yeah.
And then Yarnicopia sold it as like a special order thing. So I was able to get my hands on that. I've actually got so much left over. So I might put it into a Kintra, might knit another pair of socks, undecided. But yeah, really happy with them. Finished it whilst in Japan. Now I did make another mistake across. So you can see here, I did too many rows of stockinette. So there's this like band here, but I did the same on this one.
Yeah.
So it matches.
They'll be perfect for winter.
They will be when I weave in those ends. So that's my only other finished object.
Ooh. All right, you ready?
Yes,
got a couple.
Kendall, like I'll just lock in. I've got
I don't
my
need
knitting.
to say as much because I did mention it in the Mount Gambier vlog that I did. I finally finished my book club pullover.
Woohoo! And how good does it look? It looked so good on you on the Mount Gambier vlog.
It is 8-ply Wollemi with the Bendigo Woollen Mills Lilt. I like their lace weight in the colour marine and blue gum. I really love it. It is so warm. It's delightful. I previously had mentioned that I made a mistake. I mean, you can tell when I'm wearing it if you know what you're looking for, but it's fine. It's just in the sides. One side's a bit longer, and this side had some accidental shoulder shaping.
Accidental shoulder shaping.
But it's not the raglan one that she did. It's the European like drop shoulder. Really like it. Probably could have done it like a fraction longer. And to be honest, it could probably also benefit from some short rows.
Yeah.
The front does sit a little bit funny. But aside from that, I love it. It's so cozy. It matches my book club cardigan.
Yes. Because you also knit that in Bendigo Woollen Mills, didn't you?
That was in their bamboo twist in the colourway cactus.
Yeah, that's right.
In the green. So I really like it. So now I've got a green one and a blue one.
Love that for
we
you.
We consider them neutrals. So that was that one. I got to wear that around Mount Gambier. It will be perfect in winter as it cools down. We are Southern Hemisphere girls, so we are coming into the cold for a month in Adelaide, and then we're like, oh, it's spring again.
Can I just point out, it's nearly June. I think we've got 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Less than 2 weeks until June. And, it was 20 degrees today.
Yeah, we haven't really, it's been a warm autumn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think when I was coming back from Japan at the start of May, people were telling me it's like 30 degrees in Adelaide today.
Yeah, it stayed really warm.
Yeah.
In fact, I think some of the trees have been confused because they've like dropped their leaves and been like, wait, what?
Am I supposed to grow new leaves now?
No. Is it spring already? The thing I finished, my ends aren't woven in, so
We don't judge
don't
that.
judge. And I went to put it on today and realised that my collar's also not folded down. But again, I did this one a lot when I was in Mount Gambier. It's the Rainy Day Tea by Sari Nordlund. Talking about gauge twins, Sari Nordlund is probably my gauge twin.
Yeah, nice.
Everyone's like so hard to match hers, and I'm like, I don't know, I just do. No matter what yarn I use, I just match it. So this is Bendigo Woollen Mills in the 8-ply cotton in the colour Blue Heaven.
I love this so much, and the detailing that you've got here.
I added in the cabling on the side. I'd seen some projects on Ravelry and they kind of like ballooned out quite a bit, and I knew that that wouldn't work for me. So I just added that in. It's just cinched in just a little. I will fold the collar down, so it's supposed to be a double folded collar. I don't love my knitting and purling when I'm using cotton.
Yeah, okay. Tell me more.
I just think it flares out a bit funny. I mean, that one I use the wrong needle size,
for your
but like
collar.
for my ribbon.
Your ribbing, sorry. Do you know what I have tried with my whip that I will be talking about today?
Did you do it inside out?
I
did on this one too.
Mathilde from Nestled and Knits
I did.
talked about it.
did inside out.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's probably better, but I just it's cotton. Knitting cotton and ribbing.
Yeah.
It doesn't have like the same stretch or elasticity.
Yeah, but cotton I find is a bit like that.
But loved it. It was a fairly quick knit when you're only doing really short sleeves. And the cable detail just gave me enough interest on each one to keep going.
Yay!
So-
It's beautiful. I love it.
Probably wear it next pod.
I like all
Floating in
your-
options.
Yeah, but you might have something else finished next pod.
Doubt it.
She says that now.
We'll get to my whip soon and doubt it.
She says that now.
So I think, I mean, I did a couple of like sewing crafty things, but I did finish a red scarf necktie as a gift for someone. I did sew 6 little pouches for people, and we had like a little hand swap gift market, which was really cute.
That's beautiful.
But I don't have photos, so that's the only mention I'm going to get.
Well, the red scarf thingy you showed as a whip
Yeah.
in the
so
last pod,
yeah.
so
Finished it.
yeah.
Was also going to say, and you might also touch on this too, we were talking about the Knit Pro bamboo needles
Yes.
working wonderfully with the cashmere, and then I was seeing how it went with the other yarn because it was Drops, Flora and Kid Silk.
Yeah.
Look, it wasn't as enjoyable as the cashmere,
Nothing's going to be as enjoyable
but I
as
still
cashmere.
really like them.
So I bought those bamboo. They're like Knit Pro Basics, I think they're called. They're like $6 for the interchangeable needles, Australian. I love, so I bought them because they were cheap, and I thought if they're going to get confiscated at the airport, I'd rather they get confiscated than expensive tips. I love working with them. And I'm like, I think I need to buy like a set of this.
I think it would change depending on the yarn.
Yes, 100%. But I like,
yeah.
so I've got Symphony, I've got Lantern Moon, and I've got Xiaogu.
Yeah.
And I really like all 3 of them for different projects. So depending on what I'm doing is what I grab. So I think a pair of basics, like a set of basics for
Could
just,
work. Yeah.
this, that and the other.
Thank you, Morris and Sons Worker, for recommending them to me. Thank you for being cheap so you could buy them in case I got thrown away.
Love that for me. Whips. This is my Viking knit for my husband. I'm just working on the body. Still going. It looks really tiny. He has tried it on. It is a little snug. I'm hoping that it'll block out, but it does fit him. I'm going to get him to do another try on, and then I might block it and see how it goes. I measured my gauge. My stitch gauge is right, is accurate. My row gauge is like, was it 8 rows out? I think I told you, like, insane. I don't know how I'm supposed to meet that gauge because I had to go down like a full millimetre, 2 needle sizes to meet the stitch gauge. And so
Isn't it a really unique yarn that they use though?
Yeah, I couldn't buy it online, but this has the exact same fibre content.
Okay.
And the same meters per grams, yards per grams. And also, it's a blown yarn the same as theirs. So everything about this yarn is a match. But it could just still be a different yarn. I don't know. It's a problem for when I get to... because it's body up as well.
Yeah.
But I saw a video of someone talking about altering patterns to fit your body, and she said instead of doing increase 1, knit 1, increase 1, knit 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So I might just do that.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to have to get him to keep trying it on. So I guess there you go. That's my first whip. I wasn't really planning on talking about it, but I am knitting this in Bendigo Woollen Mills Bounce.
Yes. From clearance?
Yeah. Can't remember the colour of this. I think it's like petrol, diesel, I don't know, something. I'll put it...
Gas.
Kendall will put it on the screen. It's a scarce resource that nobody can get their hands on.
Luxurious.
And I've got silver to do the colour work. And it's called the 3 Swords Sweater.
Yeah. Using the fine elements over here.
Woohoo! Look at me, living
Petrol
large.
and silver.
That's it.
Look, would make a great skirt.
Wouldn't it?
You're like literally putting it on your lap going, that kind of works.
Oh, I can't. Oh, well. It does work.
It does. I picked up some yarn to make some socks for my husband. I have finished one sock already. I'm just using the basic sock pattern by Summerlee.
Yep.
Probably slightly too big, but
Bendigo Woollen Mills, excuse me. It's gonna let me squish.
Bendigo Woollen Mills 4-ply in sock yarn in the colourway Evening Shadows.
Multicoloured sock yarn.
So it just kind of starts changing colours. It does mean, a little bit like you were saying about yours, they are half sisters.
Yes.
Not twins, not sisters.
Yeah.
And again, I could have made it so that I started at the similar spot, but this one will start light and go through to dark.
Yeah.
He's not planning to wear them outside of the house. I could not be bothered trying to find the matching spot in the yarn. / I don't even know if I'd have enough to do that. But I do really appreciate their colour changing yarn.
Yeah.
I've used it in a couple of projects.
Yeah.
It's just fun.
Yeah.
That's just my little on the go project. I'm up to the heel flap on the second one.
Don't make my mistake. Count every
will not.
row.
I'm counting. They're looking pretty good.
That is looking pretty good.
But yeah,
You've done that in no time.
done that in no time.
Ready for my next whip?
It's beautiful.
No, I'm saving that one for last. This one is also going to be in the Japan
It's still
vlog.
beautiful.
Yeah, true. This is true. The yarn for this, I have absolutely fallen in love with. And Kendall touched it earlier today and said, I actually think this is softer than the cashmere.
I do.
That's saying something.
Because guess what? It's alpaca.
Yes. It is 70% baby alpaca, 20% silk, 10% cashmere. It's by the House Dye by Skein Machine.
On their Langhorne base.
And it is their Langhorne base. Now this one, it used to be called the Indulgence base, and it is called, this colourway was called In the Buff. He's still got a similar colourway, but I think it's called something slightly different now, and the base is called Langhorne.
Dove?
Yes, Dove. So Dove,
Langhorne
if you are looking to buy, 100%, probably more, 150% recommend this yarn.
It's an 8-ply?
It is an 8-ply,
225 metres to 100 grams.
Yeah, 225 metres to 100 grams, exactly. And I am using it to knit the Stay Toasty scarf by Kika. So
Can I just pause for a second? Mm-hmm. We have gone through multiple projects in this blog, and this is our first Kika.
I was having withdrawal. I was having withdrawal from not knitting any of her patterns.
This is unheard of.
I wanted something quick and easy to take. So everything that I took with me to Japan was small and portable.
Yeah.
And I have been hankering to use this yarn, and I thought, you know what, I'm casting this on and I'm taking it. So when I left for Japan, it was like I'd had that much. And then all of this I did in, well, up until about there. I did in Japan, and it is like, look at that. It's so beautiful. So I didn't do a gauge swatch or anything because it is just a scarf.
It's an accessory.
Satin recommends a 3.5mm needle. I am using a 3.75 because I wanted to take these needles. I wanted to do it on these needles because they were the ones I was taking on the plane, and that's what I had. My gauge is often a lot looser than Katova Kika's too. But I feel like the drape of this is really beautiful, and like I said, I don't really care if my scarf turns out a little bit bigger than...
Well, the thing with the scarf is that, it just means it looks a little bit gappier or a little bit tighter.
Yeah, but I don't even think it's that gappy, really.
No.
It's just got this beautiful like texture situation going on there. And I can just knit to halfway and then start doing decreases to knit the other half.
Yeah.
So that's my next whip. Langhorn base, Dove. Absolutely, like, I wish that you could squish a yarn.
No.
So I have decided that I am going to knit some kind of sweater in this.
She decided this, and then well, we'll get to what
We'll get to that. I am an influencer. I influenced her to do things.
Yes.
Because anyway,
She
we'll
did.
get to that. But I do think I need to knit myself some kind of jumper in this. Maybe a cardigan. I don't know. I haven't decided yet because I am not buying yarn until I'm ready to cast on.
Yes.
So when I get to it, you will see me down at Skein Machine, and I will be buying the yarn. And this is my beautiful project bag that I'm holding it in right now. That's my next whip.
So I've had the yarn for a while for this, and I think it was on last year's plan to make this. It's the Whim Colourwork Pullover. It's a free pattern by Hobby. I bought Bendigo Woollen Mills Luxury in like kind of matching colours. One colour doesn't quite match as well as maybe as it could have. I went for more of a mint green rather than a light blue, and it's kind of throwing everything out a little bit. I did post it on my story, and people were very kind and like, oh my gosh, love colour blocking. It's giving mermaid, but I'm still not sure. So I have two versions to show the pod today.
And I would also like to say, like, if you're not sure, I personally, even if everyone else loves it, you're the one that has to wear it.
I know.
And if you're not sure, you're not going to wear it.
Let me show you version 1.0.
I mean, that is really cool.
It is really cool. Like, I don't hate it, but it's just like this mint green colour. Like, I love this mint green colour, but it's something that I used a lot of when I first started knitting, and so I kind of associate it to that. But it's also the kind of thing like you make a baby knit and it's in this really like mint green, and it just feels very like,
and it is
almost tacky.
very 90s.
Very 80s, 90s.
That is a tight
Yes.
gauge.
Yeah. Yeah. It's twisted. It's twisted rib, but with short rows in the collar, which I haven't done before. I feel like I'm not spoiling secrets because it's a free pattern, which is really fun.
Yeah.
However, I don't really have good cables at the moment. And so my Colourwork is also too tight. And so it's bubbling funny. So I thought, well, I'll go and I'll do version 2.0 and I'll use grey for the collar. Now, this will still be in the Colourwork, so I'm not, like, it's not a waste. And I think I might still do the green, the mint green on the cuffs.
Yep.
And maybe the hem.
Yep.
But I'm just scared about that much colour being near my face, if I'm honest. Yeah, like, you see what I mean? Like, it's fun, but I don't know.
Yeah.
So now I'm looking at version 2.0 and I'm like,
Kinda
is
like
it just not fun enough? But I haven't done enough of it to know yet. So this is the problem.
All right, should we hold both up?
I haven't got as far. So this is grey collar, and I'm only a couple rows into the Colourwork. I'm catching some extra floats.
I don't know.
I don't know either. So I don't know. Either way, if I do go with that one, I'm going to have to go back and redo the Colourwork. Which is probably meaning that this one's probably going to win.
That one.
It's too tight.
Yeah.
I did everything that I normally do, and normally I don't have a problem with keeping Colourwork loosey-goosey, but
Did you do the thing where you like
kept them spread
them?
out.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
I do think the short row shaping in the collar is such an interesting
Yeah.
concept because this
Yep.
is the length of the hem
At the front
at the
versus
front,
the back.
and this is the length
Yep.
at the back.
Yep. But I guess you don't want to put it in the Colourwork. So,
Yeah, true.
and I did it better on my grey one than there's mistakes in that one. So I think grey will probably win.
Comment.
It's fun.
Comment your vote down
I know.
below.
You can still convince me.
She may be influenced. She's pretty easily influenced, I've discovered, so, you know. Knitfluenced.
Knitfluenced. Yeah, I don't know.
It is looking really cool, though. I really like it.
I think I will continue this one further. And I'll add extra colours in and we will
Yeah, I think that's what that one is needing, is a bit of extra colour.
Yeah.
I think that's... Because this one, I mean, the colours are so funky.
Yeah.
They're so you.
And we are going to... The pattern says to do Colourwork the whole way down. I'm looking at some of the gaps on some of them going, okay, that's going to work for stranded Colourwork. That one, the length is too long. I'm going to duplicate stitch that section.
Yeah, wow.
So I'm doing a mix of stranded Colourwork. And for some of the elements, I'm like, no, I'll just duplicate that, stitch that on.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's a line all the way down. Actually, maybe that one's not done. I don't know. And the other thing is you go back and add some embroidery, like chain stitching over the top.
Yeah.
So it kind of like defines all of the shapes. So I'm excited because I haven't done that before. Can I be honest?
Yep. Always. We love it.
I love Bendigo Woollen Mills.
Yep. I don't like the
Don't
luxury.
think I love luxury.
I don't like luxury. So I knit the simple things in the luxury.
Yeah.
And it hurt my hands knitting.
It's not
with
very soft.
Well, not even like the rusticness.
No.
Just like knitting on 4mm needles. It was like the tension of it. It was too strenuous on my hands, and then it peeled.
Yeah.
I feel like my jumper was peeled before I even finished knitting.
Yeah.
And I saw a girl the other day, a friend of mine, and she commented on my knit. I commented on her knit, and she'd knit something in Bendigo Woollen Mills. And she commented that, oh, it's so peeled already. And I was like, did you knit that in luxury? And she was like, yes.
And look,
Sorry,
again,
hijacked that.
No, that's fine because it's still where I'm going. It has the rusticness of a non-superwash.
Yeah.
But so, like, again, I love Bendigo. I love them. So many of their yarns at the moment are superwash.
Yeah.
That if you're actually looking for something that's not, it's kind of their limited edition range. And so
Yeah.
that was just kind of a little bit disappointing.
Yeah.
And like I think the Wollemi is a bit more of a rustic, non-superwash. Their bamboo twist that they had out last year.
Yeah.
Their rustic tweeds.
Yeah.
So they're the ones that I'm kind of going and grabbing for.
Yeah.
Because they've
And
got
I mean,
the rustic feel.
Bendigo Woollen Mills is great, especially if
Oh,
you're
they're
knitting
fantastic.
like baby knits, because you do want that superwash. Because
And the
what
colour
mum
range.
wants to hand wash
Yeah.
a child's jumper. But yeah, if you are looking for...
Or like the fact that there's not that many ends to weave in on this because
Oh my gosh. They're
They're
200
gram
gram
balls.
balls are the best.
that's my very controlled whips. Sarah and I were talking the other day and she was like, oh my gosh, but how many like whips do you have going again? I was like, excuse me, 2. 3 if you include my Arctic Light, which I was going to do an update on, but I'll just keep that one in the background. I did a sleeve.
And I feel like I've been really good just knitting quite monogamously, but when I wrote down my list of whips, not so much. But they're not really active. A lot of them are just kind of sitting there.
Yes.
Okay, my next whip, guys. Oh, I am so in love with this project.
She didn't take it with her to Japan, but guess what she thought about the whole time she was gone?
Coming home to knit on this, I'm not going to lie. Whenever Dave and I felt sad about coming home, I was like, oh yeah, but this project is waiting for me.
Waiting for me.
I have been motoring through this. I'm pretty well monogamous on this thing when I'm at home. I don't take it out with me. Let me show you what it is. This is my Harriet sweater by Knit. Oh my gosh, guys.
Oh,
First of all, I would like to
Stunning.
say this is my first attempt at real colour work. I am pretty proud of that.
you should be.
Like, so happy. Yeah. And it's, how beautiful is it even
Like,
from the
right?
inside?
I know. We must always show the floats.
I am knitting this in Knitting for Olive merino,
The tension.
just like the regular 4-ply merino, and they're kid silk mohair. And can I just say that if I can only ever knit with one yarn combo for the rest of my life, this may very well just be it.
Holding them together.
The yes, yeah, I'd have to hold them together. The Langhorn is divine and soft and beautiful, and it has this gorgeous drape.
But this has structure.
this does have some structure, but this also, the knitting experience of this, and like, can we just discuss, I knit this flat back and forth. Look at that even tension, stitch definition. I was chatting to Jamo from Skein Machine, and we were discussing whether or not this is Fair Isle or not, and apparently it is, so yay. I am in love with it. Like,
But does Fair Isle have to be bottom up?
I don't know. See, this is the thing. I don't know the
know enough
rules.
about it.
I don't know the rules.
There are rules.
But because of like how this works and how each row is different, and like it's popcorny. I just want to finish this section, and then I want
just
to
wanna see
finish
the
this
picture emerge.
section. And
Yep.
yes, and so
Yep.
I just keep working on it. When it was at its widest point with the sleeves, I could only do about 2 rounds in a night.
Yep.
Now that I'm on the body, I can do roughly around 4. When I'm up to the like 3 rows of colour in between, I can do like 6 to 8. But I am so in love with it. So I am knitting the extra small size. So I have gone down a lot of sizes because I didn't want it as oversized as the pattern has it. My colours are Bordeaux and Cloud Cream. Cloud. I think it's Cloud. I'll put it on the screen to confirm. This is my 3rd ball of merino that I've only just started.
Yeah, good.
So
How many balls did you buy?
all I've done with it is the collar, 6.
Yep. Yep, so halfway.
Yeah, so I
that seems
should be
reasonable.
good. And what else? I'm knitting it in the extra small. I'm knitting it on the recommended needle sizes. I did go up, so it's 4mm needles. I did go up to 4.5 for the Colourwork. I met Gauge, so this is my other Gauge twin. I'm so excited, so excited to finish this and just wear it. And like, look at the colour. I think that suits me.
Yeah, you could leave it. You could leave it the high neck.
Yeah,
I see what you mean.
Sorry, I said colour, not collar.
Oh, sorry.
The colour, but the collar.
both.
We were talking about the collar. So the collar is you knit on a larger needle, and then at about this point you go down a needle size and knit the rest, and you leave it up. I was debating whether to do the double folded,
I think you should leave it up.
but I might
I
just
think
leave
the
it
collar
up.
and the colour both suit you.
Oh, I'm just so in love. I haven't tried it on yet. I will. So this one you don't have to. So I think some of her earlier Colourworks, you
Had to work it back and forth.
had to work the Colourwork back and forth, and so you were purling Colourwork.
Not
So
ideal.
like the terracotta and the porcelain sweaters. Whereas this one is a really interesting construction because
like
you
the
knit
Rosie.
back and forth for the back, and then you pick up
Yeah.
for the front, and then you pick up for the front, and then you join in the round and do raglan increases for here. So
Yeah,
you
but
pick up,
you've picked up along here.
you pick up
almost like a saddle
stitches.
shoulder kind of situation,
So you
but
pick
not
up
quite.
stitches, and then you do this raglan stuff down here. It's
Yeah.
really interesting. So it's like you're picking up here. So you're only knitting flat backwards and forwards
to
to
there.
like here. And then the rest is
Raglan. Yeah.
raglan. Yeah. Anyway,
You got to do one just to see what the construction's like. 'cause
it's
it
so hard to
hurts your head a little bit at
describe.
first,
Yeah.
but-
Like
yeah.
I can't describe it, but it works so well when you're following the pattern. I was a little nervous about it because I'd heard people trying to explain
Yeah.
it on YouTube. Again, Mathilde from Nestled and Knit did a whole vlog podcast. She did the same jumper in the same size,
Same colours?
in the same colours, with the same yarn. I would like to say I did have my
know,
yarn
you did.
planned
You did.
before I saw hers, and seeing hers was just like confirmation they look so
Definitely
good together.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is my monogamous, really all I'm working on. So in love. Can't
so
wait.
far.
Can't wait.
I'm so proud of
I
you.
am about to finish the Colourwork. I think I've got 3.5 more rounds of Colourwork to go, and then it's just body, and then there's a whole whack of Colourwork in the sleeves.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they're small rounds.
Yay! They are out. Finished projects and whips done.
Yes.
We're on to acquisitions.
Oh, buckle up, guys.
I decided to get some of the rustic tweed.
Yeah.
Bendigo Woollen Mills were having a price increase,
Yes.
which is fine. They've got to do what they've got to do.
Yeah.
But I've been looking at their rustic tweed for a while, And so I was like, I'm going to get some. So I got the 8 ply, enough to make a fairly basic jumper. Sarah and I were going to do like another buddy knit kind of thing on the Monday. I'm having some second thoughts on that. Petite Knits Monday sweater.
Not on Monday coming.
Oh yeah, sorry.
No, that's fine.
So this is the rustic tweed in the linen. It's coming up quite creamy brown on camera, but it's, I don't know, it could be the lighting. So it's 95% wool, 5% nep, warm hand wash only.
What, so one ball going to get you the whole jumper?
No, I've only brought one ball with me. It's, how much is it? 200 grams is
400 metres?
400 metres, yeah.
And that smells like a sheep.
Yeah. 1200 metres should be plenty.
Yeah.
I might be changing my mind and moving away from the Monday sweater by PetiteKnit.
Yeah.
I was looking at the Semper sweater by Knit Pearl Girl as a strong contender backup.
Yeah.
And then there was another pattern that I was potentially looking at as well, but I found a different yarn for that pattern.
Ooh.
So I just really wanted...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I just really wanted shock horror. I wanted a neutral. Because I've been tallying what I wear the most this year so far, and I forget sometimes. But despite all of the hate that I gave towards my rosy sweater last year, it is the one that I reach for the most because it's the most neutral that I have that matches everything. I mean, it literally has a giant red flower pattern through it.
Yeah.
But because it's in like the browny, creamy,
Softy, pinky,
peachy, apricot
yeah.
it kind of goes with most things. So I'm looking for this to fill that gap.
Yeah.
Plain stockinette. You'll see some of the neps come through.
Yeah.
Went with the linen over the confetti, although the confetti is stunning. I just thought it would.
Love this colour.
It is a very Sarah colour.
And my husband's kind of colour. I'm going to have to, he loves a good tweed kind of
Yes,
look.
I know. I really wanted to get on board the Bendigo Woollen Mills tweed train. So there's 4 ply, 8 ply, and 10 ply.
Yeah.
I went the 8 ply because it's just, I don't need anything too heavier than that for our winters.
Yeah, I really like 8 ply. I feel like it's my yarn. Or, since discovered, I actually quite like knitting a 4 ply held with mohair.
Yes.
Never thought I'd be that girl, but here I am.
This is where Sarah knit-fluenced me. She's like, feel my Stay Toasty scarf. It's the Langhorn base from Ski Machine. It's so soft. I'm going to make a jumper out of it. And I was like, ooh, that's fun. And then I went and looked, and like we were at Ski Machine this afternoon. Oh my gosh. I said this when I was there. If you love colour and yarn, it is like the place to go for colours.
He is a magician with colours.
Everything.
Yeah.
If there's a colour, it honestly exists there.
But can I also say, he
So good.
also does some beautiful, like, one colour, because I'm not so much a bright colour person, as we know. He has some beautiful, like, winter, like hunter greens.
Yeah. Like, that's what I mean. Like, if you're after a colour, there'll be some version of it in the store.
Yeah, whether it's bright and funky, and some of his bright, funky yarns, we will insert some footage.
Yeah. With the swatches already, like, knit up, so you kind of know how it's going to come out.
Yeah, a lot of swatches, not all.
Not all.
He is so busy.
So busy.
Like, oh my gosh. And there is so much yarn in his store that it's just like,
so much
I
was
love
happening.
it.
So much was happening just when, like, the half hour we were there.
Yeah.
But love it. Always have the time to come and have a chat, see what you're doing.
Yeah.
Show you what's going on. So, of course, I spent some money. So, we looked around. There's actually probably other things that I was going to grab and forgot, but this yarn was calling to me. This is the Langhorn. So the Langhorn is an 8 ply DK. As you said before, 70% baby alpaca. Baby alpaca, that's why it's so soft.
Yeah.
20% silk, 10% cashmere.
Yeah.
It is so soft. This is the colour Boysenberry. I have bought 4, which might be short by 25 metres, but like, I'll reuse my swatch.
Yes. Maybe shorten it just a little bit.
Cropped cardigan.
Yes.
But this is going to be a cardigan. So the other pattern that I was thinking of doing as a simple jumper was the new Crayabaya pattern, the Solas, Sollas.
Yep.
Thank you, Katie, from the Meandering Knitter. We were talking about it the other day, and she's like, oh, this one just dropped, and it's the way Crayabaya does her patterns.
Oh,
love
so
them.
good.
Here's a 4 ply version, here's an 8 ply version, here's a cardigan, here's a jumper,
Here's a
Henley, here's a, So in the one
Here's a
pattern,
kid's one. Here's an adult one.
you basically get like a whole range of options.
It is also the black wattle. Black wattle colour,
which is
original colour.
The house dye.
Yes.
Love it. So I bought that. But that's
I think
not
that
all.
would suit me too.
I think so.
And that's not all she bought. No. Because when you knit a cardigan, what do you need to put on a cardigan?
You need buttons.
You need buttons.
And I've been looking at these buttons for a while.
He has some pretty awesome buttons there.
These are Folklore and Fibre, which I think is the same brand that had the beautiful...
Oh my gosh, the Suri.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Could knit another one of these, to be honest, in the like beautiful purpley pink colours.
Let me...
Okay. Fairy dust is what we're working with here. Fairy dust. I am obsessed. I have the buttons. I have the yarn.
She is a
It might be going
happy
to
girl.
It might be going to the top of my to knit pile.
Are you going to cast on a new knit, a new whip?
Maybe.
So soon?
Maybe I'm
Oh my god, this makes me so happy.
Maybe I'm just going to shelve the Whim Colourwork pullover for a while. But I'm thinking the cardigan version of the Soulless.
Well, fun fact, that's the Crayabea. I have a Crayabea on my list. And when I finish my Harriet, I will be potentially casting on, well, I will definitely be casting on another project. I could potentially cast on the Crayabea staff and vest.
Yes.
In one of my acquisitions.
You should.
And then we can be doing a staffing together. I mean, a Crayabea together.
So, I mean, I was going to go with the neutral next because it was simple, but I think I have really, I've said this to you, I've really been craving a cardigan.
Yeah.
And I don't really have one outside of book club cardigan, which is very textured. So
yes. Interesting. Love
anyway,
that.
today took a turn. So
it was very exciting, and I was very, very self-controlled because, as we know, Sarah is not buying yarn until she's ready to cast on, unless, you know, I've got
some.
So I won't even always be buying yarn.
Yeah.
But Japan was the exception, so I do have acquisitions because of Japan, but I was really disciplined in Ski Machine. However, the Langhorn has gone on my list. I'm going to find a jumper or maybe even a cardigan. And I will be needing something in that because I need that in my wardrobe. But let's circle back. My acquisitions. Now these are shown in the Japan's blog. But I talk more about the yarn stores that I got them from while I was there, so I won't do that here. So the first yarn store that I went to was in Hiroshima. It was in a mall. In a shopping mall, like going to our David Jones. First shop that I went into, I bought myself some sock yarn. So this is the Daruma, which is a Japanese.
Oh, it's very different colour on camera. Sorry.
Oh, it is too.
Yeah. It's not that orange.
It's not as fluorescent.
No.
Yeah.
I think this is a possible... No.
Yeah, no, it is not that orange. It's a lot softer.
Okay.
So this is a superwash Spanish merino for socks. I don't mind superwash for socks because I chuck my socks in the washing machine and the tumble dryer. So I like a bit of superwash for that fact. So 80% Spanish merino superwash, 20% nylon, and they're only 50 grams, so I'll probably knit smaller socks. I don't know. Originally I was going to knit a pair for me and a pair for Dave. I wanted to buy them. So this is like a navy colour that is like, I don't know, orangey something.
Like
nice and bright.
Peachy orange, but
yeah,
it's
peachy
orange.
orange.
It's very different.
But yes, it is made in Japan, Daruma.
That's cool.
So that was from the first store. The other thing I got was from the same store. The store name is Fukuya. No, sorry, that was the department store. The yarn store was like Hobby or something to that effect. I just got some cotton. So a really basic cream knitting cotton. It is also Daruma, 50 grams, 100 meters. So it's a nice DK. I only got 3 balls, but I'm going to knit the Sabai number 1.
Yes.
So with the ribbing and in creams. Then I have a nice black and a nice cream. And I'm going to knit a smaller size too. So I'll be able to knit it a little bit longer.
Yep. Negative ease?
Maybe some negative ease, yeah. The second yarn store I went to, I was in Okayama. I was looking for this historical village and in like the Google AI thing, it said take a shortcut through this like
Look.
thing. Can I just say nothing opens in Japan before like 10 or 11 a.m. So it was like 9 o'clock in the morning. We were walking through this deserted, quiet little alley street. And
How well does Google AI really know you?
well, can I just say this wasn't a shortcut. It did not take us directly to the place that we wanted to go, but it was the best thing we've ever done because we're walking along and my husband suddenly goes, Sarah, there's a yarn store right next to you. How have you not noticed this? And I turned and lo and behold, there was just yarn. Now it was
Google
more
knows
like,
you better
I
than
know,
you
right?
know yourself.
It wasn't like a big, beautiful, like
it wasn't obviously a yarn store.
aesthetic yarn store. It was one of those like,
It's your Lincraft.
yeah. In that yarn store, I bought myself
This is
some.
not like... Look, we're trying a new lighting situation today.
It's not showing off our yarn very well.
It's not.
It's because
that's better.
It's because that's more accurate. Oh, I'd still say it's slightly more green. Anyway, whatever. So this is the ski yarn Fraulein, but it is made in Japan, even though it has a German name.
Yeah.
Made in Japan. It is 100% wool. I couldn't tell you what type because it's all written in Japan. They are only 40-gram balls. Fun fact, a lot of balls in Japan were 40 grams.
50 or 25.
I bought 7 little balls of that because it was going to be enough to make the staff and vest. So I have that to make the staff and vest. Then the next yarn store that I went to was in Hiroshima. Hiroshima. The first yarn store that I went to, I did buy yarn. It was a beautiful yarn store. You got to take shoes off. It was all very traditional. I loved it. Go to the vlog to see more details about it and video footage because it was a beautiful little store. But I picked myself up some 100% cashmere yarn. Now, it doesn't feel as soft as Cardiff cashmere.
The construction looks very similar though. When you knit with it, I think you will.
Yeah, but it was so affordable. I think it was only like $20
Does not want to focus.
for.
$20?
I think $15-$20 for. It might have actually been $15 for I think 20-gram ball. So I bought 3 skeins of that, and I thought I could knit like another scarf of some kind. But it only cost like, I think it was like $40. It was actually really affordable.
For how many?
For cashmere 3.
3, yeah.
So that was that one. Pretty happy with that. The last yarn store that I went to was Walnut in Kyoto. So Kyoto's Walnut is actually their flagship. That's their original store. I think Walnut is the yarn store that's most well known in Japan.
Yeah.
It was stunning. I spent so long in there. My husband gets absolute props for how patient he was. So this is the Amaritsu yarn, which is I think their most well-known yarn. It is spun in Japan and hand dyed in Japan.
Trusty sport weights. Oh, Sprint.
Sprint,
Oh my
yes.
gosh, look at this labelling. Oh my gosh, where am I? Like, look at that.
I know.
And then, like, it splits apart like it's a little house that slides on and off. Sorry.
They think of
I'm
everything.
obsessed with the small details.
And Japan is all about the small details. Everything is thought through. I was originally going to get a greenish colour, but because it is hand dyed, it does have some variation in the colour, and I felt like the green was a bit too noticeable, and I thought this blue would be really nice. It is 302 metres or 330 yards per 100 grams. It is a superwash, and you can sort of feel that. But it was spun and dyed in Japan, and that was really what I wanted.
Yeah.
I wanted all my yarn to be made in Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yay!
Oh my gosh, that one is fun. They're all fun.
And blue's a little bit different for me. I don't
know.
feel like I have much blue, but I thought, you know what? It's a
cornflower blue.
really basic stockinette jumper that I'm going to be knitting, and that will work so well in this blue.
Yeah.
Go well with jeans. Might just be all blue. Might go too well with jeans.
Blue on blue.
That is all my acquisitions.
Couple of other things to say before we finish off. Firstly, thank you for kind of sticking through even though we took a month off to do our own things.
Yes, we really appreciate that.
Yeah, it was much needed. Secondly, we've had 2 other Australian podcasters mention us in their YouTube videos
Yes!
recently.
Guys.
So lovely. The first one, we mentioned her before, the meandering knitter. Katie lives in Tasmania, is so busy making lots of knits for her family to keep them all warm.
Yes, because Tasmania is cold.
Freezing cold. They get snow. We don't
would
get snow
totally
here.
live there.
Oh my gosh, love it. But she is just a delightful human.
Isn't she?
And love her knitting projects. She's really good at matching colours to like what suits her.
Yes. Yep.
Probably
so
also
good at that.
influenced that purple because her Cosmere top that she did is in a very similar purple.
Yeah. And she has such a beautiful podcast. Like, yeah, there's something very soothing
It's so soothing.
in her voice.
I don't know if I've told you this. You know that she plays all of the music?
No.
Yep. She records all of her music. She just sits down and tinkers on the piano and she uses that.
Girl.
I know. There was one recently where she had like little like voice singing parts she'd done too.
Really?
Yeah. So she's pulling like all of her little creative elements together.
Man.
So talented.
Kendall, you sing. Can you play the piano?
Not like that. Yeah.
It's like you could be our music person.
No, because she's doing it. It's amazing. So
Oh, wow.
love other Australian knitting yarn
Yes.
knitting
And what was
podcasts that are also
who
doing
was-
things really well. The other one
Yes.
is Dropped Stitches podcast.
Ah, yes.
They've just started. They're about 5 episodes.
Yeah.
Maybe
They've
not
got
even.
a few. I can't remember
couple.
how many exactly.
Yeah, they've just
Yep.
started this year. I believe they're from Ballarat.
Yep.
I found them at a very similar time that they found us.
Yes.
Really cool. Another duo, just sharing.
We
some
love a
of
good
the-
duo
we love a
too.
good duo.
Yeah.
Just sharing some of the knits that they've been making, and they had some really kind words to say about us too. They've recently just gone and recorded their Tandy festival,
Yes.
where they, and you would be, have you watched it?
No,
you would
not
be
yet.
all over this.
I'm behind on my podcast
They
watching.
shear the sheep through to knitting a jumper. Start to finish.
In the video.
Like that's the competition. There's a festival where that's what they do. They have different teams and they're all responsible for different parts
They
of
did
the process.
that at the Royal Adelaide show actually, except I don't think they shored the sheep. Maybe they did. But there was spinning and
Yeah, so then they were spinning and knitting in the grease.
what?
So yeah, you have to watch that one.
Oh my gosh, it's on my list. It is
Yeah,
on my list.
yeah.
I'm very behind on my podcasting because of Japan.
Yeah.
But I'm so keen to watch
But again,
that.
Ballarat and Tasmania, very cold climates compared to us.
Yes.
But it's really fun just to see other Australians
Yeah.
doing their thing, doing it well.
Yeah.
And
your words,
Share love.
honestly,
I know.
they were so kind
So
and they
kind.
meant everything.
Yeah,
They mean the world to
Yeah.
us. That was lovely.
we love little yarny friends.
We do. Well, I think that's everything,
that's it.
Kendall. Thank you so much
Thank you so
for
much.
joining us. Let us know what you were knitting on
Yes.
in the comments. And
Tell us what new yarn you've bought lately, because
yeah, where do you buy your yarn?
yes.
Do you have a local yarn store?
Yeah.
Do you have an
Online.
online? What's your go-to?
Yeah.
Have you knit with Knitting for Olives, Merino and Mohair?
Nope.
What are your thoughts?
And we'll catch you next time.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys. We'll see you in a month.
See ya.
Bye. Actually, no, keep your eye out for my Japan vlog. There will be 2 parts. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.